Hey, good morning. It's Dr. James. I do hope and pray this message finds you and your loved ones peaceful, thriving, and well. And I also hope and pray that you're willing to stay with me this morning. This message may feel like a really heavy message, but I promise you, if you stay here through this to the other side just a few minutes from now, I hope you feel like, oh my goodness, that was so absolutely what I wanted to be reminded of today. I want to be reminded of this every single day. Every single morning I do my meditation, I do my movement, I get into my space, and then at the very end, I do my very best to pick up something from Marcus Aurelius. He's a Stoic philosopher. And Marcus once wrote something that stays with me every single day. In fact, it's on my desk, it's in my meditation space, so I can see it every single day to remind me of how I want to live each and every day. He once said, "May all that you do be and intend to be. Do so under the understanding that you are dying, that one day you will not be here, and that everything that you do, be, and stand for is a reflection of that knowing." Whew. When you hear that, what comes up for you? And I know this is something that we absolutely know is coming sometime, our death. And it's really something, right? Because one time the Dalai Lama said, one thing I can tell you is that death's perfectly safe. 100% of the time, everyone, sometime in their life, will be successful with that experience of death. And I read Marcus Aurelius' words, and I think to myself, oh my gosh, what do I get a chance to do with that today? If I'm scared about being present, because I wonder if I'm being too vulnerable, I go, well, you know what? Someday you won't be here. Someday you're going to wish at the very end, towards the end of your life, if you have the blessing of being in that witness mode, that witness experience, that lucidity, just before you go and you go, oh, you remember that time you were with your kids and you didn't look at your phone? Remember that time you were with the person that you love the most, your bestie, your partner, your lover, your husband, your wife, that person. And you absolutely knew they needed you to be 100% for them. And you didn't need to be right, so you just were love. Because you knew someday you were going to absolutely have a moment to consider whether or not you wanted to win more than you wanted to love. And do you remember times in your life as you look back and go, gosh, you know what? There were times I was under the illusion that I was going to have more and more time to say the things or do the things or express the things to somebody who's no longer here now. And you carry that with you and you try to put it someplace to make sense of it. Or you never get a chance to carry it in such a way that reminds you each and every day that we are always drawing ourselves closer to the time when we will be in that moment to reflect. Well, I think this past year has taught me a lot of things, but it certainly taught me about the moments of reflection. The times that I know I wanted to stay awake and I started to fall asleep. The times that I woke up from that sleep just quickly enough to say, oh my goodness, what is it that the world is asking from me right now? How can I move away from political discussions and move into a policy of 100% conditional love, and the condition is me, and I'm going to be 100% unconditionally loving? How's that? It's like, wow. And then I think to myself, okay, with COVID, what is it about physical distance that sometimes make me feel that I need to be socially distant? Physical distance is something we're living with right now, but I don't want us to go socially distant. So I find myself more and more making FaceTime calls versus just phone calls. I find myself knowing that the mask does not keep me away from someone, only in the spirit of not being a contagious someone, but I can still use my eyes to smile. I can still use my eyes to be soft, compassionate, loving, and welcoming, regardless of what it is that they are being up to and whether or not they see me. I do all that I can these days to remind myself that someday I will have the blessing, I pray, to be in that moment where my truth is absolutely clear. I lived in such a way, and I'm asking you to consider, to connect with this idea. Can you, will you, intend to live in such a way that when it is time for you to go, you get a chance to capture those moments and said, oh my gosh, that was a courageous warrior for love. That was a loving experience of my life. That was my truth living out loud. Well, you know what? Today you are going to come across people that you love, I hope. You're going to have an opportunity to reach out for people that you love, I pray. You're going to have an opportunity to talk to yourself throughout this day. You will. And is it done with a level of knowing that you can be like someone who is intending to be, in the knowing that you are absolutely moving towards your demise? And celebrate your life like your life depends on it today, because it does all the time. It's beautiful, it's breathless, it's an opportunity to absolutely unshackle yourself from any self-oppression, any storyline that no longer serves you. Because you are more than enough, I am more than enough, we are more than enough to allow this expression to come to us, through us, for us, as us, because this is who we are when we are living our lives like someone who knows. One day we will not be here, but we will leave with the knowing that we loved while we were. I love you. I'm happy to tell you that. So blessed, so grateful. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.